Good afternoon, esteemed legal practitioners, colleagues, and guests. My name is Temingo Singlobo. I'm a Senior Manager, Library Services. On behalf of the Legal Practice Council, I welcome you all today. We are having this webinar, which is going to be focused on the 2026 Fidelity Fund Certificate application process. We appreciate your time and commitment to stay informed and compliant with the LPC regulatory requirements. Your presence here today reflects your dedication to uphold the integrity of the legal profession. We thank you for that. A gentle reminder to all the practitioners in attendance today to please ensure that your annual fees to the LPC are paid timelessly. This is not just a regulatory requirement, but it's a commitment to remain in good standing and support to the LPC's mandate to regulate and protect both the profession and the public. In order to help us to maintain accurate records and communicate effectively with you, we request that you ensure that your contact details, including your email address, office location, and phone numbers, are up to date. That will really assist us in communicating efficiently with you. So the LPC, remember that it is your partner in profession. We assist in maintaining your status as officers of the court, ensure that our database reflects your good standing, and take action against individuals who bring the profession in disrepute. We also provide tools, information, and support to help you remain compliant and informed, as we are doing today. So basically, today's session is being recorded, and it will be available on our LPC YouTube channel. And we encourage all legal practitioners in attendance to follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, and our Facebook for updates and resources. So, the recording will be available, even those who wanted to be part of this session, but unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, they couldn't. But they will be able to access the recordings. So if you have any feedback or suggestions, please send them to the following email address: info@lpc.org.za. And just a final reminder, I've been asked to share this with you. The LPC offices will close on the 12th of December 2025 and reopen on the 5th of January 2026. Please kindly take note of that. So during this period, skeleton staff will be available to assist, but we strongly encourage all practitioners to complete their FFC's applications before the 12th of December, just to avoid any delays. Housekeeping rules. Please note that all in attendance will remain muted. This is done in order to ensure that our webinar flows smooth and avoid any interruption, so that we don't end up hearing things that we were not supposed to hear. It has happened before. For questions, because I know that there will be questions, and a lot of them, please use the Q&A option to post your questions. Then towards the end of the session, we will have Lesho Honolo to read out the questions, and the panel will be able to respond verbally to your questions. So please use that Q&A option to post your questions. So with that, I think let's begin with our session. I will now hand over to Mr. Kulani Sambo, who will be our presenter from the Gauteng Provincial Office. They will be guiding us through the FFC application process, share practical tips, and address common concerns. He will be doing that with the support of Aneta Wilabi from the KZN Provincial Office, as well as Sitembele Zenzile from the Eastern Cape Provincial Office. Mr. Sambo, your platform is yours, sir. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you everyone for attending the session. I will be taking you through the application process for the Fidelity Fund Certificate for 2026. As a start, I will just go through the requirements and any other theory that comes for Fidelity Fund Certificate. So I will just start with the persons that must be issued with a Fidelity Fund Certificate. So legal practitioners that are admitted as attorneys and or trust account advocates are entitled to receive a Fidelity Fund Certificate. So that means that practitioners who practice for their own accounts, either as a sole proprietor or a partner at a firm, or a director in a juristic entity, they are then entitled to receive a Fidelity Fund Certificate. In relation to people who won't be issued with a Fidelity Fund Certificate, that
Mr.
is,
Sambo?
Sorry, yes.
Mr. Sambo?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's Tembingos. Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to check if everyone can hear you. By show of thumbs up, maybe I'll be able to see if you are audible. Okay, you may continue, sir.
Okay. So I just gone through the legal practitioners that are entitled to receive a Fidelity Fund Certificate. I'll go into the practitioners that won't be issued with a Fidelity Fund Certificate or are not entitled to. So the practitioners that can't be issued with a Fidelity Fund Certificate are practitioners that are listed at a firm either as an associate, a professional assistant, or consultant, and also the candidate attorneys that are at the firm. Those practitioners are not entitled to receive a Fidelity Fund Certificate. They are automatically covered by the certificate that is issued to the director or the sole proprietor or the partner of a specific firm. So the Legal Practice Act, the Legal Practice Act regulates the issuing of the Fidelity Fund Certificate. That's why it's so imperative that practitioners that are practicing for their own account apply for their Fidelity Fund Certificate and get that issued. So if I can just go through the Tony, if you can just share the presentation so I can just go through the application process that has to be done by the practitioners.
Can you see my screen?
No, not yet.
Okay.
As Tony is trying to put the presentation on the screen. I think the practitioners that are in attendance have already received the notice that was sent out on the 7th of November, informing practitioners that the Fidelity portal is opened for applications for 2026. If I can just run through the requirements for issuance of a Fidelity Fund certificate. So practitioners are required to pay a required fee, which is in the amount of 395. I will show.
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you, Tony.
Okay, thank you.
As I was going through the requirements, is that the practitioners are required to pay a prescribed fee of 395, which is VAT inclusive, on the Fidelity portal. I will proceed to show you as we go along with the training as to how that payment is done and how it will show on the system. The second requirement is that the practitioners should also have completed their practice management course with the Law Society of South Africa. The course is provided by LEAD, which is a 6-month course. So for a Fidelity Fund to be issued, the practitioners should have completed that. The third requirement is that there should be a timeless submission of an unqualified trust audit, of which this audit is submitted to the provincial offices, the LPC provincial offices, to then look at and then also approve. And then the fourth requirement would be obviously the completion of the Fidelity Fund application on the system itself. So, Tony, if you could go back to the first page. Yes, thank you. So, what on the notice that the practitioners have received, there is a link for you to gain access to the Fidelity Fund portal. Once you click on that link, this page that shows on your screen will then show up, which will then require the practitioners to then put in the email address on the first block, their ID number on the second block, and a password on the third block. We have experienced the issues with practitioners that we receive a call and the practitioner says that they can't log in. There's an issue with the login page. In most instances, you could find that the email address that the practitioner is entering on the Fidelity portal could be different from what the LPC has in terms of their records. So I would like to then put it to the practitioners to make sure that their records are properly updated and we have the current email addresses and contact details of each practitioner, so that when you go onto the online portal, you don't experience issues. There are instances where the email address is correct. It corresponds with what we have as the LPC, and the practitioners cannot apply or log in. In this situation, practitioners are advised to click on the portion where it shows forgot password, which is just after the third block. When you click on that, Shoni, you can go to the second page. When you click on that, a password recovery page will then show up, which will then require the practitioner to enter the email address together with their ID number and click on the portion just below the second block where it says send link. The system will then send an automatic email to the practitioner's email address for them to then proceed to reset or create a password. Then, Shoni, you can go to the third page. This will be the email that is sent from the portal to the practitioner's email address. So as you can see, it's just that the names at the top have been redacted. The email will show up like this to say FFC Practitioners Portal, Please follow the link below to reset your FFC portal password. If you don't use this link within 24 hours, it will expire. So I think practitioners have to be mindful in terms of the time that this link is valid for. So to reset the password, the practitioner will then have to click on the portion where it says reset password. Then it will take the practitioner back to the online portal where they can then create the password. The password that has to be created, it should be 6 characters long. It should have a capital letter, a number, and a special character being an @ or a $ or an exclamation mark. Once that's created and you've confirmed the creation of the password on the system, the portal will then take you back to the login page, which was the first page on this presentation. Then the practitioner will then have to enter the email address, the ID number, and the password that the practitioner had just created. Shoni, that would be the first page. Thank you. So once practitioners have entered the email addresses or their login credentials, the system will gain them entry into the application portal, which is page 6, Shoni. Okay. Yes, so this will be the application page. Practitioners who have completed their 2025 Fidelity Fund applications will have a portion on the application page to show the certificate that has already been issued for the year 2025. In the instance that practitioners have not completed a 2025 application, they would need to start with that application first before they can apply for a 2026 Fidelity Fund certificate. The 2026 portion of the application will not open if the practitioner has not completed a 2025 Fidelity Fund certificate. I would just like to add this as well, because we have experienced where practitioners have not applied for a 2025 certificate. So we would like to implore practitioners that haven't applied to continue and do the application as soon as possible, as the applications for 2025 will close on the 31st of December 2025. And the LPC does not issue out Fidelity Fund certificates retrospectively. If a practitioner comes to our office, let's say maybe in January, and says that they would want for a 2025 Fidelity Fund certificate to be issued, the LPC will not be in a position to issue that, because the applications will be closed, and that the policy that we have is that certificates cannot be issued retrospectively. Hopefully I'm not overloading everybody with information, but we'll continue. Now, to do the application for 2026, as everyone can see from the screen, the portion that shows for 2026, it states that the FFC applications are now open. So practitioners are advised to click on the blue button that shows that says apply now. When they click that, it will show the next portion. I think, Shoni, you can go to the next page. Yes. The portal will then show an application checklist. And then on the left-hand side, it will show you a progress bar with the listings of what should happen on this page. So practitioners have to look at, on this application page, they have to look at the practice management training. If on the right-hand side, it shows a green circle with a tick, it means that the practitioner has completed their practice management training, or they have just become a director at a firm or a sole proprietor, in which the the Legal Practice Council grants them a period of 12 months from the date of appointment, or from the date that of the inception of the firm. That 12 months period allows for the practitioner to then receive a Fidelity Fund certificate. In the absence of the practitioner completing the course within that 12 months period, the person will not be eligible to then receive a Fidelity Fund certificate for the following year. So it's very important that practitioners, especially with the new directors that are joining firms or opening up firms, that the practice management course be done within the required time frame, or before the practitioner, decides to open their own firm, or becomes a director or partner at a already existing firm. So in the instance that the practice management course is not completed, the bar, the circle there will show as red. I would advise that if it shows as red, that you contact your provincial LPC for them to then give you options as to whether you can apply for a practice management extension with the LPC, or if you have completed the course, to send the practice management certificate to an administrator or an official of the LPC to then update that so that it can show up on the Fidelity portal. The second part of this application checklist deals with the payment of the amount of $395. Shani, you can go to the next page. So on the application checklist, I think everybody saw that there was a view statements tab. To gain access to the screen that shows up on your page now, practitioners need to click on that portion where it says view statements. Once that is clicked, this page where the payment has to be made will then appear, and the Fidelity Fund portal will then generate an invoice. Just in addition to the invoice, because we have been receiving a lot of calls from practitioners to the LPC offices requesting invoices from our offices. I would just like to state it now that the LPC does not generate FFC invoices. For that invoice to be generated, the practitioners need to log into the system. That's when the invoice will then be generated. To download the invoice, on the right-hand side, there's a portion where it says download invoice. The moment the practitioner clicks that, the invoice will then show up. It will have then a reference number together with the names that the person is the names of the person that's applying, or the director. And also it will have the banking details of where you need to make the payment of $395. Shoni, you can go to this next page to view the invoice. Yes. So the top part of the invoice on your right-hand side, it will show the reference that you're supposed to use, of which it usually starts with the name FFC and then / the practitioner's practice number, and then / the year that the invoice was generated for. In this case, which is 2026. When you go down to the invoice, on the left-hand side, you will be able to see the ABSA account that the Fidelity is linked to. It will have the account number, and then on the right-hand side, it will have the amount that is required to be paid. Shoni, you can then go on back to you can go to the next page. So on this page, the practitioners have two options to pay. There is the manual payment, in which the practitioners will then have to download the invoice, effect an EFT payment, and then attach the proof of payment on the system. As you can see, just below the contributions and the amount that's listed there, there's a checkbox that shows that states that I've already paid this amount manually. If the practitioner or you have already paid the amount manually, you would need to click on that checkbox. Once you do that, you will gain access to the portion where it requires the date that you paid and also attaching the proof of payment on the system. Just bear in mind that with manual payments that are attached on the application portal, takes about 3 days for it to be updated because the system sends an email to LPC officials to then manually update the payments on our side so it can reflect on the portal itself. The second option, of which I would implore that practitioners use, is the online payment option, where it offers you a pay fast option with all the banks listed on there. Practitioners would have to put in the internet banking details, and then the payment will then be updated immediately on the system. So the difference between the manual payment and the online payment is that the manual payment will probably take about 3 days for it to show up, which will delay the issuing of the Fidelity Fund certificate if everything has been complied with. However, but on the online payment, it reflects immediately. And if compliance of the practitioner has been met, the certificate will then be issued immediately at that time. So I would suggest that, practitioners then proceed to make an online payment when doing this application. So, Fernie, you can then go on to the next page. When the practitioner has then paid, the portal will then show this message to say, like, if it was a manual payment, it will state that a manual payment has been made and it has been submitted. If it's an online payment, the same message will then appear, and then the practitioner has to then click on the portion just below on the blue line where it says view view application checklist. When you then click on that, it will then take you to the following page. Funny, you can just go onto that. It'll take you back to the normal page, not the next one, Funny. So after the payment on the application checklist, you will then notice on the all contributions paid, the red circle has then been removed and replaced with a green circle, meaning that the payment has been updated and the practitioner can then proceed to then do the application. Then to proceed to do the application, you would need to then click on the blue button that shows as next. And then when you click that, it'll take you to this page, which is called associated firms. You can click on it, Tony. Thank you. Then from what we've experienced or I've experienced, when practitioners reach this page, there's usually panic because there's a lot of warnings that shows up there, and there's no understanding as to where to click and what to do. So my tip is that don't let the warnings that show there as worry you. Those are just hints as to what you need to complete for your certificate to be issued. So if you could check all the warnings, they address all the things that are highlighted red on this application, of which those are the things that need to be completed. So I would advise that, take the warnings as hints and don't panic. Just don't call on the first view of this and call the LPC to say, I don't know what to do. What you can do is that you just need to scroll down. You will see that at the bottom, there will be then a name there, which will be the name of the firm that you're practicing at or your own firm. And then it will also show like whether you're a director or a partner or a sole proprietor. It will also show you the the time that you started. So let's say you opened your own firm last week on the 5th. It will say you started on the 5th of November 2025. Now, the main focus of this application is the three things that are highlighted red on this application, which are the firm financials, the firm questionnaire, and the LPIIF risk questionnaire. So for practitioners to complete this application, I would advise that you start with the firm financials by clicking exactly where it says complete. So below the red circle and the cross there, there's a complete / delegate. Complete means that the person who has logged in, usually being the director or the partner of the firm, takes responsibility in completing this application themselves, right? But the second button that shows up there, which is a delegate button, means that a practitioner can delegate either an accountant to then complete this portion only, the financial portion only. So those are the two options that practitioners can use. Either you can complete it by yourself and take responsibility of that, or you can then delegate to a auditor, of which you still bear responsibility for once you've delegated. So any wrong entry that is made on the Fidelity Fund certificate, it will be the responsibility of the director or the sole proprietor to then fix. So to proceed with the application process, if we start with the firm financials, by clicking on the word complete, Shoni, you can go to the next page. Yes. So once you click on the complete on the firm financials, the system will take you to the financials page where it will show you your trust account, of which it is a section 86.2. The portal will show you the way the bank and the bank account that you are using as a trust. What is then required to be entered on the system would be the closing balances on your trust account for specific dates that are then mentioned on this application. So they start from the 31st of December 2024, and then 31st of March 2025, and then 30 June 2025, and 30 September 2025. What usually happens is that practitioners will say, I can't really see the balances. So what you would need to do is either you can contact your accountant to check for you, or you can then check with your bank or trust bank statement for the closing balances that are for the dates that are listed on here. You would also need to then put in the interest rate, of which we've had a lot of calls as to if we know the interest rates of the bank. But usually with that, practitioners are advised to contact their bankers to then get the interest rates that are being charged on their trust accounts. So there's a portion there, as you can see, there's the interest rates, that's where you enter it on those blocks. And then there's the balance, which will be the closing balance. Once you have entered that, you would need to click next, which will then take you to a section 86.3 account. We can go to the next page, Fanny. 17. Yes. So the section 86.3 accounts, it's a separate account, a separate trust account that is used as more like an investment, right? Wherein practitioners would open this account in order to invest excess funds that are sitting on the section 86.2 account. But that it doesn't, a lot of practitioners don't have this account. So if practitioners don't have it, you just need to click at the bottom where it says, I do not have this account. In the event that you do have a Section 86.3 account, at the top there, which is highlighted blue, there's a portion for you to add the bank. So when you add the bank, it will require you to enter the trust account details, the bank that you're banking with, together with the branch that the bank is based. So if you don't have this account, you just click on there's the portion where it says the checkbox that says I do not have this account, and then you can then click next. When you click next, then the system will take you to the next page. It will take you to a Section 86.4 investment account, of which this is an investment that's made on behalf of a client after they've given you the mandate to say that you can invest the monies on their behalf, of which the interest then accrues to them. So in the instance that practitioners have a Section 86.4, right, you can add the bank, that you are investing the monies on. But there have been instances where practitioners call and say, we've been investing for 10 people. Are we supposed to, enter each balance for each and every person? So in that instance, you need to combine the balances of each person that you're investing money for. So say, for example, that you are banking with ABSA and you have opened a Section 86.4 account with them, right? And there are other 3 people that are investing in that account that you're investing on behalf of. You would need to then combine the balances together. So for A it could be 100,000, for B could be 100,000. Then you combine them together to say this is 200,000 invested at as ABSA account in an ABSA bank. Sorry about that. So, but if you don't have the account, you can then click on the checkbox at the bottom and say, I do not have this account, and then click next. So you can then go to the next page. The next page, 20. So what I was explaining in terms of adding the bank that you have opened the investment account, it will show up in this manner. So it will show the areas of practice of which the firm is, doing. So it will show either this amount was invested for conveyancing. If it was, then you'll choose the portion where it says conveyancing and then enter the total amount combined with all the people that you're investing for. If it's for litigation or anything else, then you would have to put it on that portal to then proceed with the application. Once you've done that, then you can click next, and then it will take you to the next portion, which is investments. And then Fanny, you can go to 21. And then it's the same, you can go to 22. So we're still on Section 86.4. I just wanted to bring this into the practitioners' attention, is that if there are portions on the Section 86.4 where you have not entered a balance, right, the system will automatically record a 0 balance. And if it is the case that it is a 0 balance for the months and the other periods, then you can then confirm, because the system, before you click on next, it will say, do you confirm to leave the balances at 0? If you're comfortable and if it's within the firm's thing, you can then click on OK, and then the portal will then take you to the next page, which is investments. Shoni, you can go to the next page. Okay, so it will take you to these investments portion, where it actually means that where a practitioner invests for a client with no underlying legal services provided. So in this instance, let's say you have, finalized the matter, for example, and a client then comes to you and says, I know we've finalized this matter. Can you then invest these monies for me separately? Not a Section 86(4), but the mandate has been done, and then they invest. But there are certain conditions as to how this can be done. The practitioners who can invest in this portion have to then be registered with the financial service provider. So that is the only option that for practitioners to then invest on behalf of the client where the mandate has already been completed. So same as the Section 86(4), if you don't have these accounts, you can then click on I do not have this account, which is a small checkbox at the bottom. You click that and then you click next. Right. Sonny, you can go to the next portion. Here. And then the portal will take you to a portion where it says other entrusted property. What this means is that, let's say a client has entrusted you with safekeeping of a title deed or a share certificate or any other valuable document or assets. You can then declare that on this portal as well by clicking on Add Property, and then the portal will then give you options to then put in what you have been entrusted with. If you don't have these type of properties, you can then click on I do not have these accounts and then click next. Then the portal will take you to the next portion. Finally, we can go to the next page. Okay. It's just that it's not showing up here. But once you click on next after entrusted property, the portal will show you a firm financial summary. It'll show you what you entered on Section 86(2), 86(3), 86(4), the estates, investments on all the other entrusted properties. So it gives you a breakdown of what you put on the system. And then it will give you an option to then click yes if you acknowledge and you confirm that everything that's been entered on the system is true and correct. Once you do that, the system will then take you back to the associated firms page, which shows up on this on the screen now. Then the system will then show you on firm financials. It will show a green tick, meaning that you've completed one part of the application. So you don't have to worry about that again. The next portion to apply would be the firm questionnaire. You do the same as the firm financials, and then you just click on complete. So by clicking on that, it will give you access to the firm questionnaire. Sonny, you can then click on the next page. So on the firm questionnaire, what shows up there is a confirmation of your firm name and whether your firm is either a partnership or incorporated or a sole proprietorship or a trust account advocates firm, right? It will also show you the registration number for the firm that is created by the LPC, right? The other thing is that if you have an auditor and the information does not show up on this portion, on this portal, this part, you can enter your auditor's details as well. So the auditor's name, the company name, the registration, and also you would need to confirm if you have extra insurance for the firm. Tony, you can go down so we can go to the extra insurance. You can go down to Okay. So if you've confirmed that you don't have extra insurance for the firm, then you can click no, 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 no. The second part of this firm questionnaire is confirmation if the firm has registered for FIC, which is important. That each firm has to register with the Financial Intelligence Center. So on the firm questionnaire, there is a question that is posed to the practitioners to say, have you registered with the Financial Intelligence Center? If you click yes, then it will require you for the ORG number, right? And you have to enter it on the system. It will then also need the confirmation letter that you received from FIC so that you can attach it on the Fidelity portal, and then you can proceed with the application. The rest of the information is just confirmation of, where the firm is based and the contact details, the telephone numbers and everything else. But that is what the firm questionnaire requires from practitioners. So it's just a confirmation of the firm name, the firm registration number, the auditor's details, confirmation if the firm has an additional insurance for, let's say, for misappropriation of monies, if they do have, and then also confirmation of if the firm has registered with the Financial Intelligence Center. So once you're done with this, you would need to then click complete. Once you hit or you have clicked complete, the system will then show you the application, the associated firms page again. So you can then go to page 32. Yes. So after completing the firm financials, this will be the message that shows up to say, thank you for completing. Click here to then go back to the associated firm. So you click on the blue button that shows there, and then it'll show you what comes next, which is page 33 for me. Yes, as you can see, the firm financials as well now. Firm financials is green, firm questionnaire is green. The next part will be the LPIIF risk questionnaire, which is it's a questionnaire for practitioners to then answer as to generally how the firm is being run. So the questions that will show up there would be usually, do you have a dedicated risk manager at your firm? You click yes or no. Are regular file audits done at the firm? You click yes or no. Has the practice provided risk management training to the staff? Yes or no. So with the LPIIF questionnaires is, how are you running your firm? And then you answer those questions for compliance purposes and risk purposes for the fund. You can then go on to the next page. Also, okay. So once you've clicked on complete below the LPIIF risk questionnaire, it'll just show you the general information. You can go through that, for your information and for future purposes. You would just have to scroll down and then click next. You can go to the next page. Yes, and then it'll show you the section 1, which is essentially similar to the firm questionnaire, which it just shows you the name of the firm, the practice number for the firm itself, the addresses, and also the persons that are employed at the firm. So if you have professional staff, it will then show you how many the professional staff are, and the rest as well. You can go down slowly. As you can see with this example, the redacted portion of it, it shows that there's only one director of the firm. And then if you look just above that at the composition of the firm, it will show that it's just one director there, meaning it's just the sole proprietor type of a thing. Now, there's a portion on this LPIIF risk questionnaire which causes practitioners problems, which is the area of practice. Right. So in this portion, there's a list of areas of practice for the firms, which is, maritime law, conveyancing, general litigation, and the rest. What is required in this portion is that practitioners have to enter the percentage of the work that they do. So, for example, if practitioner A deals with third-party matters, litigation, in this portion, the practitioner would have to enter 50% on, third-party matters, and then 50% on the litigation, which will then equate to 100%. Right? What bothers practitioners, or causes problems for practitioners, is that sometimes you don't know where to enter the portion. So what you need to do, there's a block on the right-hand side which has zeros on it, right? So the practitioners have to then enter those percentages on there, and it has to equate to 100%. With new firms, let's say firms that have been registered recently, so they would need to enter the 100% on a portion where it's coined other on this list, because they haven't actually started trading. But for firms that have been established for a very long time, they have done the work and they know what areas of practice they focus on and what percentage they do, so they can enter it on the system. And then once you've entered those percentages, you can then click next. Shani, you can go to the next page. Yes, so as you can see here, that's the area of practice. You can see all of them are listed as 0. For you to then continue, you would need to enter that 50% or 100% to then click next, and then it will gain you entry into the next portion of the application. Shani, you can go to page 40. Okay. So these are the questions that I was referring to, the yes or no questions, in which they ask the questions, do you have a risk compliance officer or something at the firm? So practitioners are advised to answer this. If you don't answer these questions, you will not be able to then proceed with the application. And there are instances where practitioners have missed a question and we've received calls as to like the system has frozen or something. But if you have not answered one question, the system will not let you through. But it also directs you. If the question you have not answered, it will be highlighted in red. So you just have to scroll up or scroll down to check which question you did not answer. Okay. All right. So after you've completed that, you can click on complete. Then on page 41, Hloni, this will be the message that will show up after completing the LPIIF risk questionnaire. Then you will then need to click on view associated firms again, which is the blue button that shows up there. And then Hloni, on page 42, this will be what shows up. As you can see, the firm financials, the firm questionnaire, the LPIIF risk questionnaire, and the audit report shows up as green. There are instances where you would find that practitioners have not submitted their audits, right? On this firm associated page, the audit portion, which is the last part of on the right hand side, it will show a red circle with a red cross. In that instance, the practitioners can complete the application for Fidelity Fund Certificate, but the Fidelity Fund Certificate will not be issued because there's one compliance issue that has not been done, which is the audit. So I would advise practitioners to, use, if you see the red circle on the audit report, proceed to do the application and then call your provincial office to then find out if there is an issue with your audit, or submit the audit if you have not submitted it as yet. So to proceed in this page, there's on the bottom right, you will see that there's a blue block where it's written next. Practitioners will need to then click on that portion, and then it will show up the following page, which is page 43. So you can then click on page 43. In this portion, this is the general information for the practitioner that's applying. So it will show the practitioner's name, not the firm, but the practitioner's name, together with the ID number of the practitioner and the practice number that they have with the LPC, and any other information that has to be entered. So there are questions on this portion where, for instance, it would say, if you have not practiced, please state the date that you will proceed to practice or start to practice. That question, for example, that's for new directors or new firms that have been, registered with the LPC. So in that instance, then you can put in the date to say, like, you will start on this date when or maybe take the date that the Fidelity Fund certificate will be issued on. Then after completing this, Flonnie, you can go to page 44. Yes. So after completing that portion for the general information for the practitioner, you can then click next, of which it will take you to the next page, which is 45, which is acknowledgements that the director or the sole proprietor or the trust account advocates have to answer. So in this acknowledgements, it's more of confirmation of the practitioner being in control of the trust account and audits being submitted to the LPC, and if there was a trust deficit reported to the LPC. So you would need to then answer yes or no. They would ask you questions. Have you paid your annual fees? You would have to then click yes or no. And please just try to be honest with that as well. Okay, so after you're done with answering the questions, then you can then click there will be an acknowledgements page or tick box at the bottom. So you can go to the next page. There will be an acknowledgements column or maybe tick box at the bottom. You would need to acknowledge that and then click complete, right? After clicking complete, you will receive this message to say thank you. If the compliance has been met, meaning the PMT has been, the practitioner has completed the PMT, the audits have been submitted and approved, the payment has been done and updated, then the Fidelity Fund certificate will be immediately issued on that system. Then it will say thank you, and then you can click home, which is the blue button there. Then Sonny, you can go to page 47. Yes. And then the certificate will be there available for you to then download and then print out and put on your wall at your office. So that is the process for a application for a Fidelity Fund certificate. Thank you, Tembukosi. I think that concludes my presentation.
Oh, Mr. Sambo, thank you so much for all the shared information. I think that was quite useful. We apologize to the legal practitioners in attendance for our screen. The font was a bit small, but the slides will be shared with all those who were in attendance. Mr. Sambo, thank you so much. I think I can now hand over to Shoni to read out the questions. But I could see that Mr. Zenzile and Mrs. Willaby, they were busy responding to those posted questions. But maybe you can just take us through those very few ones so that we don't spend too much time repeating the questions. Shoni?
Yes. Okay, so the first question is, what if we already contacted our provincial office, submitted all documentation, but the report is still read after some time? What should we do?
Zenzile, can you respond to that one? Unmute, please.
She has responded, Temekosi, on the actual email.
Okay.
Do you want me to just read it out?
Yeah, for the benefit of everyone,
Okay.
yes, please.
Okay, this means that the audit report has either been processed or has not been approved. You can make further inquiries with the Risk and Compliance Department at your provincial office.
Okay, thank you. Shoni?
The next question is the attorney is sole pop with no employee? Okay, no. Is there a closing date? Is there a closing date to apply for the 26 certificate?
I think Alisa can respond to that one.
Okay.
Anita?
Yes, hi. Okay, so the Act requires that you have to apply for your 2026 FFC actually by the 1st of December 2025. So if you apply after that date, you run the risk of a penalty being levied for your late application. Also, the portal doesn't actually close for the application, so you can make application throughout the year, but obviously you do run a risk of being disciplined for not having an FFC. And whilst you're not in possession of an FFC, you are not allowed to charge your clients fees, and you are not allowed to transact on your trust account. So it's a huge risk. We would suggest that you get your FFCs by the 1st of December. Also, what the practitioner had asked in this question is what happens if they're not actually actively practicing in January. It doesn't matter whether you're actually opening your firm and you're practicing or you're only going to open your firm on the 15th. You are required by the law to have that FFC as a trust account practitioner. Whether you're practicing or not, you are deemed to be practicing if you are registered on our database as a trust account practitioner. Thank you.
Thank you, Anisa. Shoni?
Can I complete the firm questionnaire and LPIF risk questionnaire first? I'm not sure if I was audible there. Can I complete the firm questionnaire and the LPIF risk questionnaire first?
Yeah, no, we got it.
Okay.
Yes, you can answer the questionnaires in any order you wish. So if you want to start with that, it'll keep on taking you. Once you've completed that section, it'll mark it in green, and then you can move on. So you can start anywhere in the application. Thank you.
Is there a delay when we add section 83? How long will it take to clear if there is?
I'm not aware of there being any delay. Normally you would add it immediately as you are doing the application, and the information will be loaded onto the system, onto the portal immediately, and you'll be able to put your balances and everything in on there. So I'm not aware of any delay. If you do have a delay, please move on you'll have to go back and then move on to one of the other sections and then go back. If you move to the next, it will fill out information as like that you've completed with nil balances, and you would have to then contact your provincial office to reopen the application for you. Thank you.
Mr. Zenzile, do you want to comment? Okay, Shoni, you may move on.
How is your bank account details linked to the portal?
The bank account details are pulled from our system. So whatever information you've provided the LPC with in regard to your trust account will automatically be pulled through. If, however, you're talking about the section 86.3 and 86.4, those will have to be information that you put on the data onto the portal. Sorry, you'll have to input it. Thank you.
Can delegation be given to the firm's bookkeeper?
Anissa?
Okay, this was answered on the chat. If my memory serves me correctly, it was no. The provision of delegation is when there is a number of directors and one director could do the applications for all the other directors. So that's the purpose of the delegation. It needs to be a trust account practitioner that fills out the information. You would note when you do the application that there are 2 confirmatory pages at the end that make you confirm that all the information that you've provided is true and correct. Remember, this is information that the Fidelity Fund require of you. And remember that the Fidelity Fund is like an insurance. So you don't want a situation where you fill that information and it can be used to repudiate any claim that may be put against you. So I think that that's the reason why it should only be the necessary parties that take responsibility for the information that they're putting in there. Thank you.
Thank you, Anissa. Mr. Sambo, do you want to add on this one?
Yeah, I mean, Anita covered everything. I mean, I can't really add. I mean, so we have experienced the issues with like the delegation option, wherein practitioners will delegate a different person, either a co-director or, you know, someone else. But on the last portion, the director has to then confirm that the information that's entered on the system is correct. Because should anything happen, or maybe the balance is wrong or something, then there will be the director or the partners will then be liable. So it's advisable for practitioners, if they delegate somebody, to then, you know, check the correctness of the information that's inputted on the system.
Thank you, sir. Shani?
I have opened for a year now, but have only enrolled for PMT for early next year. Will I still be able to obtain my FFC?
Anissa?
Thank you. You have 1 year within which, so you need to check with your provincial office the exact date when you were given. If that date is still to come, then you will be able to apply for your FFC. However, you run the risk that your FFC during the course of that year, when that date arrives, will be withdrawn. So it's best that if, however, that date has already come, then you won't be able to apply. Well, you won't be able to be issued with your FFC. You would have to then contact your provincial office and make an application for an extension within which to do the practice management training course. Thank you.
Thanks, Anita.
What if your audit report is still showing red by the 1st of December?
It's best for you to contact your provincial office to establish why your audit report hasn't been approved and whether there are qualifications that are still outstanding, and attend to those as urgently as possible. Remember that the audit report was meant to be in for most firms by the 31st of August. And obviously by the time that you have to apply for your FFC, it's quite a few months later. So you should, you remember that the latest date for you to submit your audit is the 31st. You could submit it any time before then, but it's obviously a couple of months have passed by the time that you need to get your audit. So you should already be aware of what is holding back, and you need to attend to it. At the moment, for the last couple of years, the fund haven't implemented a penalty. So what would happen if it stands the same way that it has been, is that your FFC will not be issued until such time as your audits are approved. So although you finish the application, until such time as those audits are approved, it will remain that you don't have an FFC. The minute that your audits are approved, it will pull through to the system and it will allow you to download your FFC. So it's in your best interest to continue to contact your provincial office and cooperate with them to get your FFCs approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Anissa.
On the portion of general questions regarding participation in automatic monthly transfer, what does it mean? Click yes or no.
Mr. Sambo, are you there?
So the bank has an option to in relation to the automatic transfer, because that relates to the interest that has accrued on the trust account. So with that, I mean, if you choose AMT, it means you have already made an arrangement with the bank, meaning that they will just transfer the interest directly to the fund. But if you haven't made that option, then you should not tick it on the system if you didn't make that arrangement with the bank.
Thank you, sir.
I have requested the invoice in order to make the annual fee for 2025, and I was promised to receive one in due course. Since then, no invoice received. Can I make payment without invoice being issued to me?
Anissa?
The invoices are on the portal. So you can't be requesting it from anybody. The only ones that you can request are for your subscriptions. That's from our office, but that's a different bank account and it's got nothing to do with your FFC. So you need to go onto the portal and you will see from the first page that it asks you to view your statement, and you click view your statement and then you will get all the details. It's a different bank account to the one that you pay your subs in, and also you've got to make sure that you use the correct reference, and the reference is placed on your invoice. So you have access to that information through the portal. Thank you.
Thank you, Anissa.
Question is, can I start application today and complete maybe after 3 days? Will I have to restart, or will I just proceed from where I stopped?
Mr. Sambo?
You will just proceed from where you stopped. When you're doing the application, it has 2 options on it. So let's say you're completing the firm questionnaire. You can save what you have answered or you've inserted on the system, and then at a later date, then log in. You'll then continue from where you left off.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Are candidates who still have to complete the exams, assessment, orals eligible to apply on the assumption that they will pass the assessments?
Anissa?
No, I assume, I'm not too sure what assessments are you talking about, admission or if it's PMT. But if it's, let's just give you both examples. If it's your admissions exams, your competency-based exams, you're not yet qualified to be a legal practitioner. You're not yet admitted. You can only be a trust account practitioner once you're admitted and enrolled, and once you've opened a firm or you've been made a director. So you wouldn't need an FFC up until that time. If you're talking about the PMT, unless we get that certificate from LEAD saying that you have completed all the modules and you've passed, we can't then update the system to show that you've done your PMT. And if the period has passed and you still have modules outstanding, then you would have to ask for an extension. Thank you.
Thank you, Anissa.
If a mistake is made when entering amounts for section 86, sorry, section 86 balances, and you move on to the next section, can you go back and adjust the amounts?
Mr. Sambo?
That you cannot. The moment that let's say you entered the wrong amount on section 86.2 and then you move over to section 86.3, it locks that amount. So you'd need to contact your provincial legal practice council for them to then open that portion up again for you. It also, if I could just add, it also works when you're completing the questionnaires as well. So if you notice that you've made a mistake on the questionnaires and the both questionnaires and the financial part, you would need to contact your provincial legal practice council, and then we'll then take it up to then reopen the application for you, and then you can correct the mistakes.
Thank you, sir.
So there's a query here. Anonymous says, I have an old Section 86 that appears on his on the portfolio that was closed more than 5 years ago. They're struggling to find information required, date closed and proof of closure. How do they go about this? If I add 0 balances, would that be allowed to proceed to the next page?
Anita, can you take this one?
Yes, there is an option for you to remove a bank account from the system, so you can try and remove it from the system. If you're having difficulty, then you would need to contact your provincial office. You would need to provide them with the proof of closure of that trust account, as well as the nil bank statement. If that trust account was never activated, there may not be bank statements for that account. Then you would just provide your provincial office with the letter from the bank confirming that the trust account is closed and that it was never activated, so there are no trust accounts, so there was no activity in that account. Once the LPC has then removed it from your system, it should then remove from the portal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Question, as far as I understand, the lapse of FFCs are the 31st of December annually, not the 1st of December. Please clarify why applications are due on the 1st of December.
Mr. Sab.
So in terms of the Act, each practitioner that practices for their own account have to have a valid Fidelity Fund certificate by the 1st of January. So that's in terms of the Act. So in this instance, the practitioners can proceed to do their applications, but the 1st of January next year, the practitioners should have a Fidelity Fund certificate on hand to then start trading and practicing.
Thank you, sir.
Is it possible to get? Oh, sorry.
Sorry, can I just interject here? Okay, so
Yes,
I
Anita.
think that you must understand that a Fidelity Fund certificate is valid up until the 31st of December. So the latest, your trust account needs to be covered at all times by a Fidelity Fund certificate. The Act requires, okay, so then by the 1st of December, you would have to have your 2026 in place to cover that trust account. But the Act actually says that you have to make your application by the 1st of December. Okay, so that you don't have your application in by the 1st of December, I can't guarantee that the fund will not implement a penalty. You would note for those that have applied late, it will say that applications are now closed and you result and that it's or it's late, I think it says, and that a penalty will apply. They haven't implemented a penalty, but it's a provision in the Act. So unfortunately, we are guided by that. It says that you must have it by then. You must have applied for it. Yes, your 2025 will still be valid up until the 31st to cover your trust account activities. But then your new FFC will come into operation and be effective from the 1st of January 2026. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita.
Is it possible to get a copy of the questionnaire of the questionnaires before completing them on the portal?
Anita?
Sorry, maybe Kulani can help with this one. I'm not familiar that you can actually download or print the questionnaires before. It will show you page by page, but maybe Kulani can just inform me if there is an example of it available.
Mr. Sambo?
So there is an example, well, not an example. on the rules, the LPA, the Legal Practice Act rules, there is a portion of an application for a Fidelity Fund, which also includes the questionnaires as well. So what you see on the system has been reduced down to a written format in terms of the rules. So you can just go onto our website, the LPC website, download the rules, and then go to, I think it's Schedule B. You will then be able to see the application and also the questionnaires as well.
Thank you, Mr. Sambo.
The office practice management courses, is it required for practitioners who were practicing for their own account for 20 years?
Mr. Sambo.
So can you just repeat the question there?
Yes, the office practice management course, is it required for practitioners who were practicing for their own account for 20 years?
Well, that depends. So if the practitioner's first Fidelity Fund certificate was issued before the 1st of September 2009, then there will be no need for the practitioners to then do the practice management course. The practice management course only applies to practitioners who become directors, who became directors after 2009, the 1st of September. So in this instance, if they've been practicing for 20 years and their first Fidelities was issued in 2000 or something, or 1990 something, then they don't have to do the practice management course.
Thank you, sir.
After I completed the associated training in 2001 already, and even submitted the grade book to the LPC, but it is not accepted.
Anita?
The practice management training is done through the LSSA. So you need to contact the LSSA and find out why they haven't issued you out with your certificate. And if there are assignments that are still outstanding, then you need to find out whether you need to register again or whether they're going to allow you to complete those. If you failed, then you might have to register again. It doesn't, you can't just bypass them and submit it through to the LPC. They are authorized to do that training, and we can only rely on their certificate. Thank you.
Thank you, Anissa.
I've completed the 2026 certificate, and the certificate is pending with the outstanding items. When I view the items, everything shows that it is fine. What should I do?
Guys, anyone can take this?
Well, with that, if the practice management shows it as ticked on the system and the audit has been ticked as well, and the whole application has been completed, it could be, I can only assume that maybe the practitioner made a manual payment and that it's just awaiting for it to be updated by the LPC officials. It's just that the practitioner that asked didn't give enough detail for us to figure out what could be the issue that, the system is being stuck in one portion. But from what I can deduce is that probably it's just the payment the manual payment has to be then updated if the practitioner has complied with everything for the issuance of a Fidelity Fund certificate. Thank you.
I'm on the FFC website now, but I'm able to apply. No indication as to online application.
Mr. Sambo?
If the practitioner just went onto the link and they had already saved their login credentials from the previous year, when they go onto the portal, it will show the 2025 Fidelity Fund certificate, and on the 2026 side, it will say restricted, for example. What the practitioner can do you would need to then log out completely and then manually log in again so that that Fidelity page can then refresh and then generate the application for 2026.
Thank you, sir.
Can I just interject here?
Yes, Anissa?
If you don't, sorry. Okay, so I just want to explain how you log out. Okay, we get this question a lot. Sometimes people will go in and they will find that their 2024, 2025 is showing, or and like my colleague said, the 2025 and the 2026 is not reflecting, it's showing restricted. You need to see where your name appears at the top right-hand corner of the screen. You will see a circle with a silhouette of a head in. You put your cursor on that circle with the silhouette of a head in, the word log out will appear and you click on log out. Then the first screen that we showed you will come up where you need to put in your login details, which would be your email address, your ID number and your password, and you log in and sort of like refreshes the page and then you'll be able to get in. So I just wanted to explain the how to log in, log out. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Anissa.
I've been battling to download an invoice. I get a restriction message from the LPC and they said they will report the issue to the technicians. Was told to try again in the afternoon. I have tried again and still restricted. What could the issue be?
Any idea, Anita?
Yeah, sometimes there are technical issues. We found sometimes when I assume that it's not actually downloading the invoice that is restricting you, because I've never encountered that problem. I think that it's more you being able to get into the portal. And what we find is sometimes if you're using the link, your firewall will restrict you. So sometimes you need to go into your browser and actually type out the whole address to get in. Alternatively, sometimes you need to use another computer because your firewall is seeing the email address or the link as a threat and it won't allow you. Sometimes if you use a different type of search engine, it will allow you. So if you use Chrome, it might allow you to go in. I would suggest that you try those. Alternatively, it might be an isolated incident. Contact your provincial office, ask them whether they're able to go in through the back end and email you a copy of the invoice in the meantime, while the developers are trying to see whether they can get you access. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Anissa. Shoni, unfortunately, we've run out of time. I think we've tried our best to respond to all the questions that were posted, but due to time constraint, it's not going to be possible to address each and every one of those. So I wish to take this opportunity to convey our appreciation and gratitude to all people who left everything and attended this session. We wish to encourage legal practitioners to communicate with the LPC. Since the beginning of the year, we've been running a number of webinars, and this month there was a survey that was posted regarding the trainings and other topics that are of high interest to the legal practitioners. So we would like to invite legal practitioners to respond to that survey so that come next year we are able to have more webinars that will provide answers and information on different topics to the legal practitioners. So with that, I wish to thank you all for attending this session. I hope all the information that was shared today, you will find it very useful, and it will assist you in dealing with the FFC application for 2026. So to our speakers, our colleagues, thank you so much, Mr. Sambo. Your presentation was quite informative and helpful, I think. Anita, you've responded quite well to the questions. I could say that Mr. Zenzile was also busy responding to the posted question. Guys, thank you so much. We look forward to the next upcoming sessions. Unfortunately, due to the fact that the year is almost gone, so we will be commencing with the new topics next year. So have a wonderful weekend ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Anita. Thank you, Florana. Thank you, Tim Gosi.
Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you, guys. The session is officially closed.